Nigeria we want. Great Nigeria. Giant of Africa. Nigeria we want. Great Nigeria. The Nigeria we want. With Vicky Omi Folaji. Yeah, me show the moon. Wale your light on. I can see what shuku. The Nigeria we want. Great Nigeria, on big ocean. The Nigeria we want. Great Nigeria, Giant of Africa. Nigeria we want. Great Nigeria.
Hello, everyone. To our global viewers, wherever you join us, you're welcome to your #1 show, the Nigeria we want. Curator, Wale or Lighton. On behalf of our regular host, Dr. Vicky Omefolaji, I would like to send sincere apologies for not joining us on the show today. She's having a few technical issues where she is at the moment. We're hoping she may join us, but but for now, we just want to get the show going. So please join me in welcoming our regular panelist, Mr. Yemi Shodimo and Mr. Elvis Nwashiko. You're welcome to the show, Mr. Nwashiko and Mr. Shodimo.
Thank you very much. Nice to see my brothers back. My brothers in arm.
Yeah.
Nice to have you. Nice to be with you again.
And how have you been, Mr. Nwashiko?
Yeah, good evening here from Australia. Welcome everyone, and it's good to be back again.
Well, thank you. And we having a special guest on the show today in person of Dr. Mutiu Agboke. Dr. Mutiu Agboke is the resident electoral commissioner of INEC in Osun State. You're welcome to the show, Dr. Agboke.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I'm trying to turn this camera, and it's making me to look like a village man here. So,
I'm not an expert in film production, but I think I can see you. The background is good. Mr. Yemi Shodimo can probably direct you better. Okay, so why Dr. Agboke is trying to fix his background, I quickly introduce us to why we are here. For
Wale, I'm not sure whether it's from my end or your end. I'm struggling to hear you or anything you're saying.
Yes, your volume is low. I won't want to attribute this to the snow because Elvis is also there. So yours can't be different.
Can you hear me better now?
You are better. It can be better, but it's better than what it was.
Okay. And the producer, if there's anything at your end, please do that, because as far as my setting is concerned, I'm actually at the highest level in terms of my volume here. If you just join us, you are here on the Nigeria We Want, and today we're looking at the race to the 2023 general election in Nigeria. Specifically, we'll be looking at who should be blamed for the high number of uncollected permanent voter cards, PVCs, in Nigeria. Is it the INEC, the independent umpire, or eligible voters? So that is what we'll be discussing. As I introduced earlier, we're having a special guest in the house. As we normally do, we go to our first segment of the show, where we look at trending social and economic issues. What is trending? I will start with Mr. Yemi Shodimo. What is trending for you, Mr. Shodimo?
Well, thank you very much. Briefly, what is obviously trending is the brickbats coming out of accusations and counter accusations between the leading contenders in APC and PDP. There are a lot of, they are meddling up with the waters, and it's a lot of very unpleasant things that are flying in the air. But I have a feeling that Nigerians have decided to buy their popcorn and sit by the side and watch how this pans out. So, but you will hear that in almost any corner you turn to, and how it will shape out at the end of the day, only God knows. But on a lighter note, judiciary is seems to be, should I say, coming of age right now, because there was a case of a man who gave a lady 3,000 naira to visit him. She collected the money and refused to show up. So the guy reported to the police. And eventually she was arrested and tied to court.
Wow.
And the judge decided that, wait a minute, you have put this man through an emotional trauma.
Wow.
So she was fined, I think, the total of 150,000 naira for doing such. You don't collect a man's money and keep him waiting, kind of. So that's just on the lighter side. But maybe it's a message to others as well. When you say you are coming, please show up.
So you have to fulfill your contract. They've got a contract.
You need to.
They've got contract. Contract is contract. Yeah, I wish the judiciary could step up their games in other important areas, like in real serious matters, in trying to expedite, justice in the country. But as I said, that's on a very lighter note. We've lost Mr. Onwachukwu.
Yes, Wale, I think a temporary solution might be you need to really speak up, because you are low.
Okay. Look,
technically you may not be able to, but I don't know. I'm sorry, you may need to speak louder.
To really speak louder.
Just to help the situation.
To help the situation. Can you hear me better?
I'm hearing you better now.
Better now. Okay. So while we're still waiting for Mr. Onwachukwu to fix, I think maybe he has a technical issue. Do you have any what is other thing trading for you? Is there, I think you are a sport person. I think your team is doing very well.
Well,
Arsenal,
I must. Yeah, let me say this a bit on a sad note. The kidnap incident that happened in Edo State recently, at the train station, is a sad reminder of the fact that we are not out of the woods yet. It's so sad. Coming after that one that happened on the rail line between, I think, is it Kaduna and I don't know, wherever now. What the feelers we are getting now is that, it's almost been treated as not a strange occurrence, kind of. It is sad. It is sad because one is getting the feeling that families are left to find a way of rescuing theirs from the hands of from the den of the kidnappers. It is very sad. I heard of the story of a family that had to sell virtually all they had. The attack happened. The wife and the husband were present at the location where it happened. I guess the husband managed to escape. The wife was kidnapped, and now he had to sell virtually everything to rescue the wife. I guess the wife, I'm told the wife is back home now. But it is sad that citizens have to do all this on their own. It is a very sad thing. And taking a trip straight to America, that in development there tells us that things are not okay at that end as well. For a 6-year-old, for a 6-year-old to go to school with a gun and for him to shoot his teacher, that's not a good thing to hear. That's not a good thing in any society. But let's welcome Dr. Agboke.
Okay, Dr. Agboke, you're welcome back, to the show. So please don't.
You need to unmute, Doctor. Doctor, you need to unmute.
Yes, am I okay now?
Yes, fine.
You're okay. And
great.
please
Don't. I have to take the laptop.
Yeah, please. You are good as you are.
Very good.
So, as a way of introduction, so we quickly go through. We get more time to get to tell the viewers more about you later in the program. But looking at the time, I have to go, to why we're here. And as a way of preamble, I'll quickly provide an intro to today's topic. Again, if you just join us, we're discussing the race to the 2023 general election in Nigeria. And specifically, we're looking at who should be blamed for the high number of uncollected permanent voters card, PVCs, in Nigeria. And we have a very competent person in person of Dr. Mutiu Agboke, the INEC resident electoral commissioner in Osun State. It will help us to dissect and analyze the topic. So I go straight to the introduction. With about 35 days to the conduct of the 2023 general election in Nigeria, lamentations by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, over low collection rate of permanent voters card, PVCs, in many states, and complaints by eligible voters about difficulties encountered in getting theirs have become sources of worry ahead of the polls. In a recent report, INEC said about 6.7 million Nigerians were yet to collect their PVCs in 17 states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, despite the enthusiasm that greeted the continuous voters registration, CVR. Out of this figure, 2.1 million PVCs were in Lagos and Abuja as of December 29, 2022, with over 1.6 million unclaimed PVCs in Lagos State. To address the situation, INEC decentralized collection of PVCs into registration areas and wards across the 774 local government area offices of the commission across the country. From January 15, the exercise reverted to INEC local government offices until January 22nd, which is the last day for PVC collection. To ease collection, INEC made provisions for the centers to remain open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily, including Saturdays and Sundays. So, who should be blamed for these low collection rates of PVCs ahead of the election? So I go straight to our special guest, who is responsible for the low rate of collection of the PVCs. Are we going to blame INEC, or are we blaming the eligible voters? Dr. Agboke.
Yeah, thank you. The blame is neither here nor there, because a lot of things come together to culminate into why we have such huge numbers of the uncollected PVC. And let me tell you what usually play out during the CVR. During the CVR, INEC will go out, engage members of the public, mobilize from one point to the other, churches, mosques, all centers where you could have crowd to encourage them to vote. They will come. The stakeholders, i.e. the politicians, they devised a special method. And the method was such that they will get big buses. They will go to various compounds. They will go to various areas where they have their loyalists and mobilize them to our various centers. They will ensure those people are registered. They will ensure those people are brought down to our various centers. During the collection, you will not see any of such effort being deployed for the collection, because it was a spontaneous response for registration. So they want to just bring in fact, if that singular action has been one of the reasons that are responsible for what we have seen in our breakdown, that is responsible for multiple registrations. Most people they brought, some of them have registered before. It was our ABIS, our technology, that discovered some of them. But if somebody tells you that he has gone to INEC office more than 5 times, they say he should go and come back, blah, blah. By the time we now check properly, you will discover that ABIS has removed, one irregular name. And such people's card will not be printed until after the election. So for me, I think the stakeholders, the political parties, they are not doing due diligence in this regard. Again, some of us believe alone that it is INEC responsibility to make sure that the message is brought to the doorstep of the owners of this card. Some people will even say that why can't you carry them to their various houses and so on and so forth. Yet, there are so many methods that we could deploy, but we will only act based on the reality of the standard, put down by the commission. For example, commission says, first, local government. Later, we were directed, go to the, registration area, the one you refer to as ward level. And let me inform you, during the governorship election in Osun State, collection of the cards were devolved to the, polling unit. And you know that the nearer the collection to the people, the better. So for me, it's a multi-stakeholders blame that we all need to share. Political parties need to do more. INEC must continue to engage. Members of the public also, they should own the collection responsibility as a responsibility. In other words, if you knew that you registered, you should own the collection of the card as a responsibility on yourself. So that all
Thank you, Dr. Agboke. Thank you. I'll pause you there. I'll also go to the regular panelists just to get their views. Dr. Agboke said it is multi-stakeholders' responsibility in terms of who to blame for the low collection rates of the PVCs. Mr. Shodimu, do you share that view in terms of who is responsible for this low? Dr. Agboke played very diplomatically. He spread the blame around. But in your view, who is to blame? Are we really blaming the people that if you registered and you made all these efforts to register, what stops you from picking the card? Especially when we're talking about what has been the voters' PVC revolution that people have been talking about for over 12 months now. On mute, please.
First and foremost, I've got to thank Dr. Agboke for his response. I'll probably talk about that towards the end of the program because he has demonstrated to me what a public servant really should be on this issue. But let me go straight to your question. I share his views. I share the fact that it's a multifaceted. It should be a multifaceted approach. And if we are sharing blames, we should probably share it in all corners. However, I'm curious about something. Hardly can you go to a collection center without seeing a crowd there. Am I still with you?
Yeah, we are together.
Yeah.
Yes. Hardly can you go to a collection center without seeing a crowd there. And what you hear, I think the modus operandi needs to be checked. Because as we speak, there are people in those collection centers queuing up, a bit struggling here and there. Could it be as a result of inadequate manpower? Because, okay, fine. Dr. Agboke just told us that political parties mobilized people to register. Now it's gotten to the point of collection, and they are probably busy campaigning, and they are not really bothered about getting people back there. But what happens to those people that show up? How do we facilitate the process whereby I can walk in and walk out? A lot of details are involved. I have mine. I have collected mine, and I must confess that mine was stress-free. The process of collection, probably due to 1,001 reasons. But there are people in those collection centers struggling to pick theirs. There are people who are a bit discouraged about going there and queuing up for hours and eventually not getting their cards. How do we solve that from INEC's end? Because INEC has to tidy up its own base first. And then we can, of course, as much as a platform like this is a means of enlightening the public that it is important for you to go out there and collect your PVCs. So I'm throwing back a challenge to INEC, since I have INEC on the show now, that yeah, we need to ease up the process. We need to. I've had complaints from people who said, okay, because they changed their voting centers during this last process, the exercise, they only got to point out the collection center only to be told stories and that their cards were not found and etc., etc., etc. The day I went to collect mine, I had stories like that. And still up till yesterday, I still had 1 or 2 people talking about that. And there is the problem of hearsay in Nigeria. Once people are told, it's a problem collecting it, that is what they will echo. They won't even bother to show up. But the Yorubas will say, Kakole akata lo, kawapada afa bofediye. In other words, let's see if INEC can tidy up its own act. We have just a few days left. And then we can now talk about the public not showing up.
Thank you. And I will back to Dr. Mr. Shodim, and I will give Dr. Bouquet just 60 seconds to quickly respond to that. Because you share the blame equally, but
yes,
Mr. Shodim has decided to really nail it down to the process.
Yes.
That there's a need to ease the process, and that in terms of easing that collection process. Your response in 60 seconds, Dr.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was going to ask him, which state did he collect his own?
Lagos.
Lagos. Okay. So, in other words, those issues of crowd are peculiar to Lagos that you have seen. Anyway, now, in some areas, okay, let me first of all tell you that INEC has a designed template for collection of the PVC. You come there, you have a PVC desk officer. He checks, another person checks your record. If your PVC is found, you collect it. If it's not found, you go to another person that will document your incident, that your card is not found. So the process is a seamless process. But we now look at, why do we have crowd in all of this? Do you know that we started this collection campaign on the 12th of December? As at 28th of December, people were coming in ones, in twos. The more the days are drawing closer, the more you see people trooping out. In terms of manpower, we have enough. Our permanent staff, our adult staff, the core members are being used. All we need in these various centers is for them to organize themselves so that we will get it on time. Look at it. Somebody just sent a message that maybe the same Lagos, that she went there, she got his own under 1 or 2 minutes. She now said perhaps because it was a Sunday. No, not because it was a Sunday. The process is seamless. If there are specific areas where we have crowd, the rec or the electoral officer has the responsibility to design a method of ensuring that there is no crowd. Okay, Damilola is saying that here in Akure, is crowded. As I leave this program now, I will call the rec or the administrative secretary to look at it. In Osun, we don't have it because our staff at times, they may make it difficult. I want to agree with Mr. Shodimu. They may make it difficult. Some of them may just be lackadaisical or be inefficient. But what I do is that my personal phone number, my one line I use, is in the public domain. People send WhatsApp message to me, SMS to me. There and there, they send message. I intervene and we solve the problem. So it's a thing we can solve together. Where you see crowd, let us know. It cannot be everywhere that is crowded. Where you see, let us know so that we can use, strategy here and there to decongest those places.
Yeah, thank you. I think we finally have Mr. Onwashiko. He has been struggling with, IT for most part of the show. Mr. Onwashiko, we've lost him again. So I don't know what was really happening at his end. So hopefully, he will try and join us back. Thank you for that clarification, Dr. Agboke. So I go back to Mr. Shodimu, and then I'll come back to Dr. Agboke. And, my next question has to do with how tenable is the argument by some registered voters that they cannot find their PVCs at collection centers.
Yes.
Some have argued.
Yeah, they might not see their PVC for one main reason. If during the CVR, continual voter registration, opportunities were for the following people. If you are a fresh registrant who has never in your life registered before, you are to register. If you have lost your PVC, you will go to the registration center and tell the officer that I lost my PVC. I want to retrieve it. It's a different process entirely. My PVC is defaced. My PVC, my name is not properly spelled and things like that. So the process of correcting those anomalies on your cards is not the same thing for a fresh registrant. But you know what majority of people did? They all went to the registration center and informed the officer that they wanted to register afresh. And they were registered afresh. Once they were registered afresh, at the point of consolidation of names, we have a technology that will discover multiplicity of biometrics, multiplicity of your names. Once they come together, our ABs will flag your name, and it will just remove one of them. The other one is still there. So as at the time of printing the cards, such people's name will not come out, but it will be regularized after the election. So as at the time they are collecting now, they cannot see their card.
Thank you, Doctor. And just to welcome Mr. Onwashiko to really be a part of the discussion, I want to go back to him. So, Mr. Onwashiko, can you hear me now?
Yes, Wale, I can. I hear you.
Hear
and I guess this is a buzz.
Hello? Yeah, I think Mr. Onwashiko. No. Okay, I think it's frozen again. Do you? Okay. Mr. Onwashiko?
Yes, Wale, I can hear you now. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, look, I just want you to gradually get into the program. I'll go back to the first question, which I threw to the panel, to the panel. What is your take on who is responsible for the low collection rates of the voters' card? And I want you to look at it from the angle of there's so much talk about PVC's revolution. So how are we going to have a PVC's revolution when voters are not collecting their cards? As of today, there are millions of uncollected voters' cards.
A bit of both, Wale, and if you ask me. Yes, there's the responsibility on the part of Nigerian voters to actually go out there and pick up their PVCs. it's their civic rights, their civic responsibility to vote during elections. However, every right comes with a responsibility. Typical with our people, there's that mentality of, I'll get it done, I'll get it done. And we only have a few days to the election, and so many PVCs have not been collected so far. There's also the question of voters' apathy, which is quite common in Nigeria. With that, again, I will also add that the INEC also has its own responsibilities in terms of, logistics, procedures, in ensuring that those who are willing and ready to collect their cards, do so in a timely manner. I've seen on social media where people have actually been complaining. They've gone out there, to pick up their cards, and they've waited the whole day, and they're not able to pick up those cards, which tends to frustrate the individuals. Anyone on the sideline listening to the experience of those who have actually tried may be dissuaded to wanting to go pick up their cards. So the citizenry have their responsibility or a share of the blame. INEC also has a responsibility in what's going on as well. So a bit of both, in my view.
Thank you.
Wale, sorry, if I can quickly come in here.
Yeah, please do.
Will it be out of place for us to learn a bit from the Australian experience? Since the two of you guys are out there, is there something we are not doing that they are doing there that has made it painless, that has made it so stressful? That sort things to go on without any stress. Is there something from the process?
Yep, I was actually going to take it in that direction. I don't know how far you guys have discussed this already. However, in Australia here, it's not just your right to perform those civic responsibilities. You are also mandated to. Where you don't participate in an election here, there's a fine for you. And that's how the government gets everyone to be involved in the political process. You find people rushing to ensure that they actually partake in the political process because no one wants to pay that fine. The process here is such that we also have early voting, like for individuals who wouldn't have time on the weekends to go vote. I think 1 or 2 weeks before the elections, you're actually allowed to go cast your vote during the evening hours. So perhaps there needs to be a sort of punitive measure in place to compel people to actually partake in the process. Otherwise, it's going to be that lukewarm attitude of, oh, look, if I can choose to do it or not to do it. So that's something we do here in Australia that really works and gets everyone involved in the process.
Is there something Wale wants to add?
Look, I would just, because of time, I think he has really covered it. Is centralized, in terms of the registration, and then there's early voting, and there's also, it is one of the few democracies where voting is compulsory. If you can't really substantiate the reason for it, you get about $200 fine. It's a lot of money by every standard. So yeah, so everywhere is about $200 in fine. Wow. It is compulsory. Yeah. So because of time, I'll go back to our INEC, commissioner, resident commissioner, Dr. Agboke. INEC said apathy towards collection of PVCs were only noticeable in states with off-season governorship election, like Anambra, Ekiti, and Osun states. Why this, INEC commissioner?
No, it will be because build up to these off-season elections, was an event that was characterized with much enthusiasm, much eagerness, etc., etc. And by the time you now get to the time of election, everybody was ready to collect the card. That was why I told you, in all these states, Anambra, Ekiti, Osun, collection of the cards was devolved to the polling unit. And in anywhere the card is brought to the polling unit, majority people will be able to collect the card. Because the manner of registration was such that you are registered close to where you are resident. So when they say the cards are here, people find it very easy to come and collect the card. So in Osun here, a lot, in fact, when I resumed here in November 4, I met 40519 something cards. Between that time that INEC started the collection and now, with the little advocacy I've been able to do, we now have 397,114. This 397,114 that I'm talking about, I called my staff, bring all this card, let us do the analysis. I harvested the numbers of the owners. Oh yeah, I bought the card for their recharge card, start calling them. You know the result? Majority of them have relocated out of Osun State. I called somebody. He said she was in Benue State. He said, "Oh, guy, I give you the card. It's for you." Whereas, you know what could have happened? That person could have moved his voting right. You know, we were doing transfer too. She could have moved it to Benue State. Yes, she has moved it. The one she registered with here definitely must have been deactivated. But by our record, it will still be part of our record because we still have it here and we can't give it to anybody. So in other words, most of these cards are old cards, particularly for me in Osun State. They are old cards. For those that are already dead, we know few of them who are known, but we may not be able to capture the number of dead people in Osun State. So for me, it's not really a big deal that I'm having this number because one, governorship election has been conducted. But I'm not taking it for granted. I am moving from one place to the other. In fact, if not for this interview, I should be in 1 or 2, 3 local governments now. Since last week, we have been moving. Yesterday, I was in 5 local governments. 2 days ago, 7 local governments, meeting the traditional rulers, talking to the market women. So this little advocacy we are doing is actually paying off. People are really going to collect it. So that is the reason that is responsible for it. Majority in those states have collected the cards.
Well, thank you, Dr. Agboke. I go back to Mr. Shodimo, and I also just want to, talking about the apathy on the part of our people. I also want to link that with our kind of attitude towards this in general, especially the last-minute rush syndrome. That is synonymous with the way we do things. Like we leave everything till the last minute. Even the election that everyone, the young people on social media, they've been talking about this as, a defining moment for Nigerian democracy. So how do we go about navigating through that? And especially, how do we really change that attitude and an orientation, especially around that last-minute rush syndrome, considering the important task ahead of nation building and important task of electing people to govern the country for the next 4 years?
It's a fundamental problem. It's a fundamental problem. And a lot really needs to be done by the media. A lot needs to be done by our religious leaders. Our religious leaders. Traditional leaders, rulers and all that within rural settings could also be of help. But I want to put a lot of this on the table of course, it's our people, but our religious leaders, because of the level of followership that they enjoy, because of the level of influence that they wield over our people, there is the need for them to be a little more practical more practical in their sermons. I keep saying this. I think because of the situation we found ourselves, we should probably talk less of what happened in Israel in 1806 or in the 10th century. What happened in Egypt? Those are things that people need to know. But let's talk about Nigeria. Let's talk about people's responsibilities, civic responsibilities. They have a captive audience that they can use. We need to do that. Our teachers also need to do a lot more in terms of enlightening. The media needs to do a lot more. Of course, media is commercialized, and which brings me back to INEC. I like the practical approach of Dr. Aboke to this, but there is the mass reach that the media could help in. I am not sure INEC is spending enough money on public enlightenment. I don't know what the budget looks like, but and I'm talking about INEC National. I am in that industry, and I am not sure, because a lot of advocacy being done via the media are things done out of love for this country by such media houses. A lot of it, a great percentage of it, they're not paid to do this. So I believe that INEC should put its money where its mouth is. This practical approach is excellent. It's super, but it can also be better aided via the mass media. We had the same problem of people waiting till the last minute during the BVN registration. We had it, and I mean, I just hope Nigerians will turn around, and be more responsive to such calls.
Thank you, Mr. Shodimo. Mr. Nwachukwu, I think we've lost Mr. Nwachukwu again. Because of time, I go straight to our INEC resident commissioner, Dr. Agboke. Okay. Mr. Nwachukwu, just a quick one. Do you have a response to the issue around the last-minute rush syndrome that is synonymous with the way we do things in Nigeria? How do we really encourage our people to really get up and do their civic duty, at least collect the voters card first? How do we really encourage that? Obviously by in terms of specifically around our attitude toward things, and more specifically around that last minute syndrome, or last minute rush syndrome of doing things.
Well, we have been, our people are so used to the African time mentality, which is an attitude that a lot of us would need to change in order to get things done and done correctly. Apart from the issue of people getting into things the very last minute, there's also the mindset that it could be a waste of their precious time. I saw one of the comments from one of our viewers here alluding that the mindset is they've already, whoever is going to ascend that position of leadership is already been selected. So that's the mindset. I'm not saying that assertion is correct, but that mindset is also there. But regardless, as Edmond stated, INEC needs to do a bit more in terms of sensitizing the public. Could be by way of social media. A lot of our people are on social media these days. They could do also paid adverts. The political parties also need to mobilize their members and encourage them to go pick up their PVCs. The traditional rulers, I'm sure, could do also their part in encouraging our they're subjects to go pick up their cards. Civil society organizations or civil society groups, are also well positioned to provide this sensitization. Just encourage the individuals to go pick up their cards. But overall, for those individuals who haven't picked up their cards, I think it could be a case of people who have lost faith in the system and thinking the status quo is still going to remain. But my advice to such people is, if you don't get involved, then you can't reasonably make that change that you're wishing for.
Thank you very much, Mr. Onwachukwu. I think we've lost Dr. Agboke, and I've got a very important question for you, Doctor. So good timing to have you back. There are allegations of extortion against INEC staff who are compromising or shortchanging the system. What is the commission doing on this, Dr. Agboke? On mute, please.
Any staff of the commission that commits any one infraction or the other is acting against the code of conduct, stipulated by the commission. That is general rule. But as an individual, in my state, that is why I can see a lot of my friends, they have sent message to me. They are part of this program. They are watching.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I'm going to drop my phone number now. If anywhere in Osun, where any kobo is being demanded, or you are alleging any of my staff of any laxity or the other, don't call me, I won't pick. But just send me a WhatsApp message or SMS. There and then, I will resolve it. And for me, I conducted 2019 election in Oyo State. This was the style, and it paid off. So I am a public person. For the period I am here, I don't have anything to cover. My phone number is everywhere. So for me, Noshu, please call and send message to me. Nobody should demand any kobo from anybody.
So let's try and broaden it a little bit. And I get it. You're speaking the capacity of a state that is under your direct control, and I get that.
Yes.
Can we speak of this in broadly in terms of the nationally? Is that same approach?
My brother, I think you had my first part of the response, that there is a general code of conduct for every INEC staff. This exercise does not require, INEC is not money-making agency. So under that, every resident electoral commissioner has a responsibility to make sure that they domesticate this law, they ensure that they coordinate the activity or the exercise in a way that will be in tandem with the regulation of the commission. So for me, I have nothing, to conceal. It's not a big deal for me to release my phone number. That is my own style. Perhaps because I am the youngest in the whole Nigeria out of the Rex. That's why maybe I can adopt that approach. For every other Rex, I don't know what they do. But I know that no Rex will allow or tolerate such extortion in any form. No Rex in Nigeria.
Yeah. Okay, good. You've got a few comments.
Oh yeah, I do. In that regard, Wale, yeah. So broadly speaking, I understand those allegations actually have been made, and that INEC at the national level and even at the state levels are investigating those allegations. I learned of a comment from Festus Okoye, who said, officials found guilty will face disciplinary action and even possibly prosecutions. Now, it's not a one-way street. I also read somewhere that the voters are actually also inducing the INEC officials. It's not just the case of maybe the officials asking for anything, but that the voters are actually inducing and the officials to have their PVCs issued. There are also allegations of discriminatory, issuance of PVCs in some locations. At the end of the day, all bona fide voters are entitled to their PVCs and should not be in any way, form, or manner made to disburse money before they get their cards. And finally, all regs have been directed to ensure no such practices occur in their locations, and nationwide, and that there are consequences for that action. So I thought I should just add that to.
Thank you. Mr. Shodimo, just for your, do you have
No,
anything
you're not
to
just
comment
adding.
on?
You have become an INEC man already. So you're just adding. That's the policy. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Shodimo, do you have anything to say regarding, alleged, corruption and, how this could be better managed?
Well, I basically, when there is no giver, there is no receiver. It's important to drive this home as well. Nigerians have a tendency that I need to grease palms to get things done. Even before reaching the INEC office, they believe, oh, if you just give the gate man something, you'll have priority in getting in. If you just give the official there something, yours will be placed in terms of sorting out. It is important for us. These are basic civic responsibilities. These are officials that are paid to do these jobs, and we need to be careful as well. We need to help the system work. Which brings me, if you permit me, I'll just quickly say this. What Dr. Agboke said about his modus operandi, I am here to attest to that. And we hit at public officials hard here on this program, but when there is a need for us to comment, we do not shy away from it. All I needed to do to get him on this program was send him a text message, just that I want to speak with you and with a name. He called me back himself, and it took me just about 2 minutes, and I mean 2 minutes, to convince this official here, Dr. Agboke, to be part of this enlightenment program. He had something to do this morning, but he dropped it because he felt this was very important. I want to show public appreciation for this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
This is what we want from our public officials. Things will work if everybody takes care of his own little corner. Yeah. He is taking care of Osun State in terms of electoral process there, and this is what we should replicate. Nigeria can be better. Nigeria can be what we want. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. And my last question, Doctor, how was INEC doing to ensure violence-free election in 2023?
I would have loved.
These declarations are great, but in 60 seconds, how do
yes, I would have loved perhaps if Muyiwa Adejobi has been brought here to actually give specifics.
You need to unmute. You need to unmute, Doc. You need to unmute.
Oh.
So you have 60 seconds, Dr. Agboke.
Am I on?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, yes, I said I would have loved Muyiwa Adejobi, the first PRO, to put specifics to that question so that you'll be able to know. INEC responsibility is to organize the election. You are correct. There's a synergy. We have interagency consultative.
Don't worry, we will get Muyiwa Adejobi.
I was driving at that synergy between.
Yeah, exactly. We have a platform for interagency consultative committee on election security. Peace, atmosphere of peace is very good for election. Atmosphere of war cannot do anything. Look at it. Just last Friday, in Osun State, people in Ilesha, Oshogbo, Iwo, they were already pulling down the billboard and posters of their fellow politicians. And people were already attacking themselves using machetes and guns and things like that. If I show you Where is this file? Look at this file here. Contains all the petitions by political parties. Petitions. And none of them will own up to, of course, one thing or the other. The same thing CP called me, and I said, PCP, let us invite all of them into my hall. Let us talk to them, appeal to them, to their conscience. And they really came. But some of them did not show up. So, my brother, that is to the extent of what INEC is doing. People should not misunderstand what the chairman said. INEC is not saying we are going to cancel or postpone election. No. But if they continue to attack and kill our staff, attack and raise down our offices, and we say we are going to election, is that realistic? That is the alarm the chairman is raising. Even in the midst of that, we are ready. In Osun, I have all my beavers ready. Very soon, next week or 2 weeks thereabout, we are going to do mock accreditation to test the efficiency of the beavers. And somebody is saying we are not ready. As I was talking to you, my storeman just came in to give me the delivery of some of the non-sensitive material from Abuja. So, security apparatus, we are in tandem, we are on the same page. ICPC, EFCC, they will help us to arrest vote buyer, vote sellers, and those who are coming to use third-party persons PVC on election day. So we are together. Let us tell our stakeholders to relax. Beavers is the game changer. If you are popular, go to the people. If you are popular, don't buy their vote. You are suppressing the vote by buying their PVC. You are suppressing them. So go and vote and let them choose the peoples of their choice. My phone number is
sorry, Wale. Wale, sorry, just a quick one. Doctor, do you have a message for those who are buying PVCs? There are people going out there buying PVCs. The message
is that they are wasting their time. No, they are wasting their time. They cannot use that card on election day. In fact, there is no way they are going to use it. That is why the security, they are going to beam their searchlight on those individuals for arrest, because they are also criminal on election day. But in terms of bypassing the process of election on that day and use it, not in this life. And if you procure the one alujonu or spirit to help you, we would discover on that day. So that is it.
Thank you very much.
Day, let us go there. 08037.
Okay. I think Dr. Agboke, thank you very much. I think looking at the time,
880 is my number. 7037435880. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I thank you.
You need to repeat the number, Doc. You need to repeat. You need to repeat that number.
080 374 35880. 080 374 35880. When you have a problem in Osun, anywhere, just stand there and send me WhatsApp. I will call you and solve it immediately. Don't go, so that it won't be another problem. Mr. Wale, moderator, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Agboke. And to all our viewers, our regular viewers, Blessing Kolade, Oluwafemi, Clementino, Damilola, Adebowale Abayomi, and all others that have been to meet up where
Wale, please release. Wale, please release the doctor so that.
Okay.
Please release the doctor so that I can go on his trip.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, for honoring our invitation. So, and actually, we just towards the end of the program, and it just to quickly round up what we discussed, extensively around the topic that it is a multi-stakeholders kind of responsibility in terms of collecting the voters' card, doing the right thing on the election day. That the INEC, as the umpire, they have their role to play. Despite the issues around logistics, they still need to do what they have to do to ease that process of people collecting, voters' card. There was discussion around enlightenment, that they need to, specifically around, addressing apathy, that people need to more enlightenment on the part of the government, The traditional rulers, they have the role to play. The religious leaders, they have their roles to play. And also that even the citizens in general and civil society organizations, they have roles to play in creating that awareness. Thank you for joining us. And I will just give our regular panelists, just in absence of Dr. Vicky, just to say, final words to our viewers. I'll start with Mr. Chodimo.
Well, if you have not collected your PVC, don't be discouraged. If you've encountered some issues and problems there, please go out there and collect it. And on the day of voting, please go out there and vote. Together, we can make this country the Nigeria we want.
Thank you. Mr. Awashuku.
Just to add, the change we all seek, obviously, no one is happy with what's going on back home in Nigeria, and would like to see things done differently. And, to have that happen, you actually need to go out there, pick up your PVC so that you can be part of this process. You can be part of the change that you're advocating, that you're wanting to see. We can't sit at home and, expect that change to happen like magic. So we all need to be involved in the process. Don't be discouraged with what's happened in the past, or what's the current or past governments have put you through. This is your opportunity to change the status quo, to make that change that you're wishing to see. So get involved in the process, and hopefully things can turn around for the better.
Thank you to the panelists and to our regular viewers. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for your likes. We need more of those comments. We need more of those likes. Please share what we do. We pride ourselves in what we do. It's one of the best programs in terms of public enlightenment and discussing about politics. So there's no point doing this if people are not really watching. So help us to spread the message, spread the gospel, share the link with your friends. Encourage us to do this more and more. And I'm sure after the show, like Dr. Vicky did last week, she had an announcement. I'm sure at the right time today, after the show, just keep on looking at our Facebook page for announcements around winners and all the updates from Dr. Vicky. So on that note, I say thanks so much for your company. I will see you same time next Friday. Bye-bye. Bye for now.
Good night.
Bye.
The Nigeria we want. Great Nigeria. Of Africa. The Nigeria we want. Great Nigeria. The Nigeria we want. Butiki yomi folaji. Yemi shoti mu. Wale olaito. I can see what shuku. The Nigeria we want. Great Nigeria, on Vicky Ocean. The Nigeria we want. Great Nigeria, of Africa.